You believe in Jesus?
Yes, I do.
Well, you're going to meet him.
You see what fun this is? It's going to get really exciting. I know what to do now. They've made it clear.
You warriors are good. Real good. The best.
This is the end of your rotten life, you motherfucking dope pusher.
We'd make one hell of a team, Snake.
The name's Pliskin.
Hey everybody, and welcome to 42nd Street Forever, the official podcast of Grindhouse Cinema Database. I'm Pete Roberts. Today I'm here with a special guest, Mike Vaughn, who is a author and YouTuber, and he's picked out a special movie for us to discuss, and I'm really looking forward to it. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. So, we've been tweeting back and forth about the movie we were going to talk about, and it's one of your favorites. I don't know, like when you first saw it, but it's NAIL Gun Massacre.
Yeah, it's admittedly it's a bad movie, but it's one of those bad movies that I have a lot of fun with. And you gotta love the tagline that says it's cheaper than a chainsaw. I mean, the tagline, it tells you, it kind of knows what it is, right?
Right. And, do you remember when you first saw it? Like, was it like a long time ago or recently?
I think it was, I came pretty late to it, actually.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe whenever
Synapse Films put it on DVD. I think it was like 2005 or something like that.
Yeah. So it was around that time I
first heard of it and everything. And
yeah. And again, it's like, I know, I mean, it's like, we'll get into this more, but it's like very poorly made, right?
It is. See, that's what I was going to say. Like, I didn't know like where perspective you were coming from. If you thought it was like, I didn't think you were going to think it was like, great cinema or anything, but I was going to say, but that's like, it almost like, I have to say it, like after watching it a few times, it's almost like close to like a thing that like you'd see on Mystery Science Theater 3000 or something. You could actually picture them like watching the movie and like, just kind of poking fun at it. It's sort of like, it's not like I was thinking like tone wise, it's not like I Spit on Your Grave or like Miss 45 or something, as far as, because it takes place in the rape revenge subgenre, I guess you'd say. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like, but I mean, it's like, it's a very low budget movie. So it's not like, but it has a kind of like a goofy quality to it. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like that certain tone it hits. It's not like really like dead serious. It's like, and there's certain reasons why, like we'll probably get in, talk about that, but
it definitely knows that it's kind of like a cheap, cheesy exploitation film. Right. And I feel like that's kind of why it's so endearing. I rewatched it last night just to take a few notes, and it's like the acting is bad, the audio is for shit. Like
it doesn't take itself seriously, like type thing.
Oh yeah, it's again, I can't really say it's a good movie, but it
has a charm to it, I guess, like a free, that kind of like homemade, like people making a movie, like kind of having fun and like doing crazy stuff, and on the weekends or something.
It definitely has kind of like that really scrappy, like, let's get our friends together and make a movie, which
I agree. I totally like, and I get that. Like, I get that reason why you like it because of that. It's almost like Evil Dead in a way, but I mean, I like Evil Dead more than this movie, but you know what I mean? But it's like, it has like that same type of like, just kids, like, getting together, making a fun movie and like, just having a good time and, seeing what happens and type thing.
Yeah, I always thought this would have been really interesting if they would have like maybe done some sequels, but just kind of took the character and not just, I mean, the storyline is
Right. It's pretty basic. Like, it's basic. Yeah. It's very basic, but like we should probably just like say like, we'll get into spoilers. We'll just like, cause I'm trying to like talk about movies and it's really difficult to like talk about all the stuff you want to talk about without giving spoilers away. So people should just like watch the movie first, then come back and listen to this and, they'll be in sync with what we're talking about. But yeah, like you wish there were some sequels, like say if like the killer at the end, like, it wasn't him or something, or if it was, they could have done it in a certain way to leave like some mystery. So it, it could have kept going or something.
Or, they could have just went down like with the prom night sequels and just completely went a whole different way and told a different story and just maybe used that same like costume, but different character.
Yeah, like someone sees that in the newspaper, sees like this this killer like getting back at somebody, like they read the story of what happened, then they take on that persona, of the mass killer, and they do it themselves for their problem, like type thing. So like Friday the 13th Part 5 or something, like with Roy,
just picking like up that. The mantle.
Yeah,
I mean,
take the mantle.
Yeah, like I always find it's such a shame that certain movies never got sequels like this.
Yeah, what would be another one? I don't know.
Madman would be one from the 80s.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that once, but I can't remember like wasn't it like a mountain, like a crazy mountain man or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's like so it's very like Madman is very much like a typical like slasher, but it's got this really weird, almost pseudo folk horror.
Yeah. And aren't they like sitting around the campfire, like telling about Madman and like then it's sort of like that type of thing. I don't know, the legend of Madman. Yeah.
Well, and then so they posit that he's a supernatural entity and almost sort of like pre-Beetlejuice, if you say his name, like
or like Candyman or something.
Yeah. And I always thought that was like such an interesting kind of like take on slashers doing this sort of folk horror thing.
Right. Been like in Friday the 13th Part 2, they kind of do that with like Jason, like they're talking about him like he's like a he's not real. He's like, it's just like the folk story, but of course he was. But yeah, I like that too. That's very cool. Cool idea.
Yeah. But I always thought that would be so interesting to kind of like explore that and maybe like expand on that like mythos that they sort of set up. Or they could just take the character and just go completely batshit crazy.
Right. Yeah. That would be cool. But like going back to Nail Gun Massacre, like we were talking about like the tone of the movie, like when it starts and like, you see the killer like coming at the people. And then like, the first way, like it's not going to be like the typical like serious movie is like he like after he kills somebody, like he'll say like something like some crazy like comment. He'll say like, oh yeah, like he'll shoot the guy in the head and then he'll go, oh, aren't those types of headaches the worst? The ones that are right between the eyes, and then it's like in this like weird like robotic voice, like robot, like I don't know what he's using, like some type of like voice box or something. I don't know what it is, but it's just like those little comments. You're like what kind of movie you're watching, so it's not like it's almost like Freddy Krueger, like when he would like say like funny stuff like after he killed somebody or that type of stuff.
It's interesting because like when I was taking notes, I was like one of the things was. It almost feels like Freddy's quips. Like when he got kind of jokey in the later films.
Sequels.
But, yeah. So again, I think that's what's so endearing about it is it exactly knows what it is. And, the story's not very good. Like the plot is the thinnest of paper.
Yep.
But it has a good time. Like it's something that you can just put on and it's fun to watch, especially if you're watching it like with a bunch of friends.
Yeah, that's true. That's that type of movie like you'd put on and like you kind of joke around and like watch all the crazy stuff going on. But it's like, but like that's one of the things I liked about it was like those little quips that he does, like the killer does, and then but it's like then there's like other stuff like little details like when he first kills the first victim. Like his wife like runs out of the house and she's like kind of puking, like gagging. She's like, like she's like so sick from like what she saw. I don't know, just like little stuff like that just makes me laugh, like those little things.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like it really has like this sort of like Southern fried exploitation.
It's like from Texas, right? I think it was in Texas.
Yeah, so I heard that they originally wanted to call it the Texas Nail Gun Massacre.
Well, that's pretty good, pretty close.
Yeah. But I guess close. Yeah, so I guess maybe they were like,
that would have been a little bit too much, but they had to go with Nail Gun Massacre, so it wasn't a total like direct.
Yeah, which is still a great title.
Yeah, it is good. And it's a good weapon for for like a slasher movie. Kind of fun.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like it has like a different. It's like it's like a different thing than like whatever, a knife or it's like it has like that extra thing with like the air gun thing, and like it's in every single shot like they show the people like the nails in their faces and stuff. And, like the weird thing about like when they go to cover their face and the nail goes through their hand and like it gets stuck to their head like to cover. It's like weird. It's like a weird idea, like weird, funny though.
Yeah, and what's kind of interesting, and to the film's credit, they do sort of weave in like the weapon with the story and it being on a construction site.
And there's actually like a scene where those guys are like playing like they're like playing with nail guns and they're like shooting each other with them, and like they're just having like their own little game, and then like they don't know the killer is like watching them do it or something. I don't know I can't remember exactly what happens, but so it was like a little construction aspect to it with the nail gun, and that was interesting too.
Yeah, so I mean, not to give this like a lot of credit, but that is actually a pretty good setup and payoff. But again, I feel like if you like really so bad they're enjoyable sort of films, this is certainly one that I think
stands out.
Yeah. And I mean, again, it's not like it's remarkable. It's not like it's particularly gory. I mean, it is bloody, but it's not like you're not going to see any like Fulci style like gore.
It's not too gory. I mean, there's blood and stuff, but it's not like there's not people's like brains like all over the place or like stuff like that. Or
right,
just a little bit of blood and
like
the nails. Like another little detail is like when the people with the nails in their face, you can kind of like see like it's just like little like pieces of rubber like stuck on their face, like it's just weird. It's like funny.
Well, yeah, it's funny because you could like actually see it like jiggle.
Yeah, it's like jiggling like when they touch the person. It's just funny, but it's like that type of stuff. But then it's like I'm trying to think of like there's another scene like I was rewatching it last night, and like there was one scene that I really like struck me funny was it's the part where the girl is waiting for her friends to come back. And she starts like freaking out and crying and stuff. And she's like, I know I'm going to die or whatever she's saying like that. And then like the guy that lives there comes back and he's like trying to comfort her. And he's like, the first thing he does is like, he starts shaking her. Like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Like no one would really do that. You'd just be like, you just ask them what they're doing here. But there's like this whole weird, like awkward thing, like where he's like shaking her saying, what are you doing here? And then she's like crying and saying like, my friends are dead or something like that. And he's like, don't worry, they'll come back. It was just like a really awkward, weird. It just made me laugh the way they played it. I just thought it was really funny. That's one of my favorite little scenes in there. I don't know.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite scenes is they like discover this body and I guess it was like a store owner or something, and he just leaves the body there, and the guy's even like, are you gonna get this stiff out of here? And they're like, no.
That's funny. I know, that was really funny too. It's just like all those types of things, and like everybody like in the like all the like people, the actors, like you probably some of them aren't even like real actors. It's just like people that like worked at the store or something. Like, and they just had them in the movie, like that old lady that was at the general store or wherever it was. That type of stuff. You know what I mean? So it was like
a true breakout star of that movie.
She was like, it was just kind of like amateur hour stuff, but yeah, I mean, this, the movie, and then like the setup of the movie, should we say like what actually like the very beginning of the movie, like how it starts, like it's basically like a girl gets raped, and then like, and then, there's like it's like at a construction site, I guess, or like, it's just a bunch of construction workers that raped this girl. And then that's where then like the killer shows up, and you're like, okay, this is this must be, and who is the killer? Is it the girl? it looks like it's a girl through the whole movie. If we're going to give away spoilers, but that's what I thought. Like you thinking like, oh yeah, it's the girl like getting revenge, but
yeah. And I mean, we can go ahead and like, if you want to go ahead and like synopsize the ending, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah, and I'll let you do it because you love the movie.
Yeah. So it's like you said, they make you think it's the sexual assault victim, and it actually turns out that it's not her, it's actually her father.
Bubba.
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was her brother. Her brother was Bubba. It's her father? Oh crap.
Oh, you know what?
I must have made a mistake. I thought it was like her brother or something was Bubba. I don't know. Whatever. It's like her either her father, her brother is the one that. But the whole thing about the movie is throughout the film, you're like, oh yeah, that's the girl, because it's a girl in the the girl is it's some girl playing the killer, but it looks then like at the very end they take the helmet off and it's a guy, so it's like that doesn't so it's like it's one of those twists, like you're not expecting that at the end.
Yeah. Oh no, my bad. You're right.
Yeah. It's her brother, Bubba. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
whatever. It's same, close enough.
Yeah. So it is still kind of early in the morning, and I'm still sort of acclimating to
right.
But yeah, no.
Anyways.
It's really, actually, again, to give this movie some credit, it does have a nice misdirection. Again, it's not groundbreaking.
It isn't like really, but I mean it, but like if you watch it for the first time, you're like, oh wow, they changed it to like, because you're expecting it to be the girl, but it's not. So it's like,
yeah, and it's so interesting because again, I believe it is her in the.
Yeah, it is. I think it is probably or some girl, whatever, either her or someone else. But
because you're like, oh yeah, it's definitely her. It's not even like a reveal
right.
or like a twist, but and
also we have to say like what the suit that she wears. It's like, was it like a motorcycle helmet with like tape on it? I don't know what was going on with that. It was like a little tape hole with like, I don't know. It was like kind of like half taped with like a little like space.
I mean, it is kind of a cool look.
And the camouflage. It's sort of like the Exterminator or something. Like, remember the Exterminator?
I
just thought of that right now.
I'm glad you said that, because I was like, I know that reminds me of like another sort of.
I just thought of that right this minute. I'm like, you know what? The Exterminator poster has, but I don't think he ever wears the helmet in the movie though. I think it's just on the poster.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, that's basically what it reminded me of now that I'm thinking of it. That's what I flashed to, was the Exterminator guy with like, the motorcycle helmet but he doesn't, I don't think he has camouflage on, but that's like what she wears. She wears like camouflage, the helmet, and then she has her little nail gun tank and, stuff.
Yeah. And again, they don't like bulk it up. I feel like kind of purposely, make it look pretty form-fitting.
Right. It's sort of like I don't know what you'd call it, but yeah, it's not like she's not like, like huge or anything. She's just like put on some camouflage, put a helmet on, and that's it.
And I mean, this has some of like the stupidest but funniest quotes.
And I mean, that's what I was saying before, was all those quotes, like after she kills somebody, she'll like say like, oh, don't fall to pieces over me. But it's like in that like weird, like robotic voice. Like, I don't know what if she was supposed to have like a robot, like a voice box. I guess that's what it was supposed to be. Or if it almost had a thing where it was like, maybe she was saying it in her head or something. You know what I mean? Like she was like saying that to herself. And then like there's like that laugh like afterwards. Ha 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 ha. It was just really weird. Like,
Yeah. And I feel like we thought about this way more than the filmmakers probably did.
Yeah. They were just kind of like trying to do something kind of different or something.
Well, again, it's interesting because again, not to give us too much credit. And I say that, but I love this movie. So it's not that I'm trying to dunk on it purposely, but like, it's the killer that like looks like the shape is traditionally female, and but then you have like the voice that's like deeper and again, like you said, robotic. So it kind of keeps you guessing, like.
Yeah, because that would have given it. That's why they had to do that, because that would have given away if it was just like her saying that stuff, like with just a girl voice. But you know what I mean? It wouldn't have been that's why they did that, because you're like, oh yeah, it's just a girl with a voice box with a, you know, doing this. But
it also kind of throws you, because you would think if it was in fact her, why is she also killing the girlfriend?
Yeah, that's another little thing. It's like you're like, okay, now why is she killing like all the girls too? I didn't get that. Like I was like, why? You know, it's just the guys that raped her. It's not, these girls have nothing to do with it. I was just like, what's going on with this?
I really feel like this movie would be so interesting to remake as like now, I mean, you could still have some fun with it, but like maybe like a dead serious sort of
remake. Like make it more serious or whatever.
Yeah, like actually have like,
it would be good.
A woman write it and direct it. I feel like
that would be very cool. They could definitely do that, but it's just, you know, we'll have to see.
Yeah, but like it's just stupid fun. I mean,
it really is. At the end of the day, that's just, you know, it's not like one of those classic, you know, horror films or anything, or it's, you know, it doesn't, I mean, you know, it's just not really that great. That's not that well made. I guess the director, I guess, was he the stuntman on Dukes of Hazzard? I read or something like that. Terry Lofton, I guess he worked on the Dukes of Hazzard or something.
Yeah, let me look that up. I feel like I read something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's you gotta love a movie that has a line that says, "Do you remember when you could sit outside and not worry about the mosquitoes and the killers?"
Yeah, that was a good one. And what's that line where she says like, "Oh, you shouldn't." And oh yeah, she drives around in a hearse. By the way, that's another little detail we didn't mention. That's what she's driving around in a hearse, killing people. And then like some guy she's gonna pick up on the road. Then she kills him, and she says, You shouldn't hitch rides with hearses unless you're gonna die, or something like that. unless you die, you shouldn't hitch rides with hearses unless you die. I think that's what she says, something like that. But there's all those little lines throughout the film. It's just really funny.
Yeah, and again, like half of it doesn't make sense, and that's okay because this movie.
Yeah.
So this movie very much slips into that uncanny valley where, like, it's like they're clearly supposed to be emoting like human emotions, but it almost feels sort of like an AI's version of human emotions at times.
AI's version. Yeah, it's pretty fun. That's true. Yeah, it's like what they think they should be acting like, but it's not like it just doesn't seem very real, like, or something. It's like that scene like I was talking about earlier with the girl crying. It's like they're kind of like they're like acting like humans should be, but it doesn't come across like, it's just bizarre. Like it's just weird. It's not fully, it's not, you know, authentically human. Or something.
Right. And again, what really saves this movie is it knows what it is. It has a lot of fun with it. There really isn't a lot of depth to it, but that's okay. I mean, there's sometimes when I want to watch a movie that I can just shut my brain and not really have to think too hard about something. I mean, I feel like we all kind of like movies where you know, it's like
you don't have to like you don't have to take it too seriously, and you can just kind of like enjoy it for its hokiness and its goofiness, and it's just kind of like, you know, it's kind of like not a feel good movie, but you know, it's just kind of like, you know, just seeing things from a more like, you know, goofy perspective or something. I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to think of other movies that I like that are like that. I have a lot of movies like that too that I like, but I can't think of any at this moment. But
yeah, like,
but I totally get that.
There's another like kind of grimy movie that I like, but the tone is a little more dour. Called The Redeemer. Have you heard of that one?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it though. Is it Redeemer, Son of Satan or something like that?
Yeah. So
I've heard of it. Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. And what's that one about?
So it's sort of, I don't want to give too much away because it is,
you don't want to spoil that one.
Pretty rad. And
but it's kind of supernatural.
So I will say, like, okay, like it's basically like a high school reunion type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets very much like, it almost kind of has like a similar setup to Slaughter High.
I haven't I don't think I've seen that either. But is it sort of like April Fool's Day or something like that type of thing, or like it's like a bunch of kids get together and then like they get knocked off or something? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, like the premise is pretty kind of straight up. Again, it's like 6 people and they're kind of confined in this their high school for like a reunion, and then you have like this masked killer. But then what's kind of interesting about it is there is like this religious angle to it, and there's sort of like not to give anything away, but there's sort of like apocalyptic sort of flavoring to that as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's rad as hell, and I feel like you would like it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, like Code Red did a Blu-ray. I think it might be out of print, but
what year did it come out?
1978.
Okay, so that's a pretty old movie then. I remember I've seen posters for it, but I just haven't seen, one of those things I've seen over the years. I've seen that poster or the DVD or the Blu-ray, whatever it is, DVD cover, but I just haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, and Slaughter High from '86 is really good too.
Yep.
And again, it's just like people that are trapped in their old high school. And then this, I mean, Slaughter High is definitely more traditional, like slasher.
Yeah.
And what's so interesting about the Redeemer though is like it's pretty early in the slasher wave. I mean, because it was like the late 70s.
Yeah, right. It's like the same year as Halloween, so it was like right at the very, even before the 80s when those were really popular. So
yeah, it came
like
out
starting.
You're right. It came out the exact year as Halloween, and
yeah, that sounds interesting though. I'd like to check it out.
Yeah, it definitely is worth checking out. But I mean, Code Red also did the Blu-ray for Nail Gun Massacre, so
yeah, right,
a little tie into that as well. But I again, those are the kind of movies that I like because I think, as we were saying earlier, it kind of has this like gung-ho spirit of like, let's just grab a camera, let's get our friends together, let's like
guerrilla filmmaking type,
yeah,
people just doing it and whatever, even if it's not perfect. And
yeah, and like it because I mean, like, not to compare Redeemer with Nail Gun Massacre, but like the Redeemer, it definitely like has a little bit of better production values, whereas Nail Gun Massacre, you could just very easily see how amateur it is.
Very much.
But did you have like a favorite like scene or part of Nail Gun that kind of sticks out to you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one scene. Well, I mean, like I was saying before, that scene where the girl was waiting for her friends and then, that guy comes along. I'm trying to think of this like a really great scene. I don't know. I think maybe the scene where the guys are like playing with the nail guns and they're like shooting each other. Then the killer like attacks them. I think that was probably one of my favorite, like, attack scenes in the movie.
So
I just thought it was like kind of like, good, shot and everything. And
I will tell you my favorite scene, and this is so funny because like when I was writing my book,
that's Strange Cinema, is it called?
Yep, The Ultimate Guide to Strange Cinema, and you can find that on Amazon. But
gotta give a plug for that.
Yeah, definitely gotta get that shill on. But no, like one of my favorite scenes is, it's like the dude bros and they're out in the woods chopping wood.
Oh yeah, the chopping wood. The guy that leaves his girlfriend to go chop wood. I would have been like, I think I'm gonna like let my friend chop the wood by himself, and I'm just gonna stay here today.
Yeah, and
the scene out in the woods with when they're doing the wood, and then
and like
then he pisses on her or something.
Oh my god, yeah, and then like he basically just shoots his dick full of nails.
Oh yeah. That's what it was. Yeah.
So when I was
what was the line? Like, what do you remember the line she says? Like after she does it, she says, I wish I could remember the line.
Oh, something like
that one.
Now, buddy, now you you really pissed me off.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. You really pissed me off or something. It's just funny stuff.
But yeah, so like so the guy is like knocked down the ground. He's like in his underwear and like
he's like,
so when I was like when I was coming up with images for the book, I was like, I have to like get a screenshot of
the crotch shot.
Because it's so hilarious and over the top, and like I'm so surprised that like my editors were like fine with that.
That's funny
because you don't see anything, like there's no
it's not there's really no like explicit
stuff. But I think it's just so hilarious. And
that was funny.
But again, it sort of ties into where it has this misdirect of these are like sexually motivated,
right? You'd think that would be like what the girl is doing, but like that's true.
So again, it's like, not to give this movie too much credit, but that is actually pretty clever.
And I'm sure like when they were planning the movie, they're like, okay, we got to have one scene where the guy shoots him in the dick or something, like, you know what I mean, like something like that. It just, they had to do that. That's
like
must.
I would love to have been a fly on the wall of like them coming up with stuff. Like if it was just like, okay, we want a scene where he does this or he does that, or because I feel like it almost feels like it's so weird because they like set up characters that you think are going to be like important to the plot or like intricate to something.
They're not, I guess.
And like you don't even really need that setup like at all. You could just but again, it's like
they didn't have to have like the guy with his girlfriend like in the bed or anything. They could have just had them like out in the field already,
right?
And like just had her drive up and get, you know what I mean, like that type of stuff. Like you think maybe like, he's like what, I don't know. I guess he was one of the rapists. I can't remember because like the way they shot the rape, it's like, I couldn't remember like all the people that were there. Like
because there was like,
I guess he was there.
There was a bunch of them, and like it's such and I mean, don't get me wrong, I love exploitation cinema, but I always find like sexual assault scenes really like cringy, disturbing.
I do too,
as they are, but
I do too. Actually, like I Spit on Your Grave has probably the worst ones from me. Those are like really like, those are like, they aren't played for like laughs or anything. Those are like really like graphically brutal and stuff. But I mean, that's just tough to watch. Like to have see someone be tortured like that. It's not like sex; it's just torture, basically.
Yeah, and like not that the opening scene is any less disturbing, but I will say to the filmmaker's credits, it's not long and it's not super graphic.
No, it's not really. It's just like, she's like screaming. They're all kind of like, yeah, go get her, like, or whatever they're saying. But it's not like, it's not like, graphically sexual,
It's not prolonged, thankfully. And it does sort of like set up the rest of the movie.
But that's the weird thing about that is like to start the movie with a rape, like a gang rape. And then like all of a sudden she's like cracking jokes, like in the next scene, like it's like, making those little comments, like, the little quips and stuff, you know what I mean? It just doesn't, it's kind of weird, but that's kind of weird too. But
and I mean, so if this were a better film, I feel like they would have started with the killings and then maybe slowly sort of dripped this sort of backstory into
like they could have done like a flashback thing or something, like as she kills each person, like there's like a little flashback of her getting raped. Or like something, just something more like you were saying, like if someone remade it, they'd want to have like more of a serious tone to it or something. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be like so low budget and kind of, cheesy in a way. It would be more like, like Miss 45 or something like that, but with a nail gun, something like that.
Yeah. And I mean, like,
do it in a different way.
Again, it's like, I still love this movie, even though it has tons of faults, but like, it's always,
that's why we like it. It's because some of the flaws, that's why we like it. Because of all the flaws that they could have changed things, but they kind of left it in there anyways, or whatever, you know what I mean? That type of stuff.
Yeah. And like, I never fault a movie for taking big swings. I mean, just like, don't be boring.
Right. Exactly.
Is sort of the cardinal rule.
Always keep things moving. Always like keep some little entertainment going. Like whatever it is, even if it's like a little stupid scene where people are just like hanging out and like eating at the table or something. Whatever they were doing. Eating. Remember, like when they're eating at the table, and he's like, "Oh, SpaghettiOs again," or whatever. Whatever he said.
Yeah. It's like there's so many scenes that really are so inconsequential, right? Like they don't have anything to do with anything. They don't really set up or pay off anything.
No, it's just like kind of like people like, I don't like those two guys that like live in. Oh, I know what it was. The first guy that gets killed, him and his wife lived there, and then like I guess they left, of course, after the killing, and then those people moved in. So that was like how they got into the story, I guess. But then what I didn't get was the killer like actually shows up one night like outside, doesn't she? Like, or him. She shows up like they're like eating dinner inside, and she like, I don't know why. I guess he's just killing everybody at that point. That's what it was.
So again, it's like I feel like a lot of this maybe was just came up with on the fly, and
I like, probably think so.
Yeah, and like this feels like a movie that could have been easily maybe like 60 minutes, but there's definitely like 25 more minutes of padding.
I bet. Yep.
Which again, I love this movie, flaws and all. Like I know I'm bagging on it a lot, but at the end of the day, it is some like.
It's still enjoyable.
I mean, I liked it enough that like I've owned it literally on just about every format.
It's been on. Is it on Blu-ray now or?
So it is. Yeah, it is on Blu-ray.
Code Red.
Code Red put it out. I believe it currently maybe is out of print. But
it seems like a lot of their stuff like it'll be out for a little while, then it's out of print like all of a sudden. I don't know.
Yeah, although. Interestingly enough, I know like Kino has been putting out Code Red titles, or like they've partnered with them to distribute Code Red. So
I saw that too.
Yeah, so like it could if you're curious about the movie, that's probably something.
Is there any like good like extras on there too? Like audio commentaries
so there's some really interesting like interviews, like Joe Bob Briggs talks to the cast, like
cool,
a pretty big fan. And I think there's like a mini doc on it, and some interviews, stuff like that. Like I love commentary tracks. Unfortunately there's not one on this one, but it would have been kind of awesome to hear.
It would have been cool. I don't know if the director is still living or anything, but I don't know. Or maybe just some like actors from the movie or something that are, could like do it. That would have been good too.
Yeah. So like Terry Lofton actually died in 2011, it says. And then.
And I don't know, obviously I don't know any of the other actors in the movie. So it's like,
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah. I mean, it's like one of those, no one's really, you don't know any stars in there. So,
but again, the one cool thing is I do believe that Joe Bob does get to talk to the cast in like a reunion type situation on the disc. So
do we know like exactly where it was filmed in Texas? Like was it like Dallas or something, or I don't know.
I'm not sure. I actually haven't it's been a while since I poured over the extras. But yeah, it's certainly, so I love kind of doing like double and triple features. So
what do you watch this one with?
So Pieces is
Pieces. I love that one. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah. So I feel like this would go really well with Pieces. Or if you kind of wanted to just do like something a little more obvious, you could maybe pair this with like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
Just like do the amazing,
like classic. Do like a Texas Killer.
Oh totally. You could do like this and The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Oh yeah, that's a really creepy movie too.
Now that is, I feel like, again, that movie is kind of cheesy, but I feel
but it's pretty creepy though. It's like with that killer. I don't know. That one kind of creeps me out.
Yeah, I mean, especially
like Baghead Jason, like before, before that even came out.
But like Town That Dreaded Sundown was the 70s, right?
Yeah, 1976, I think. And it was by the guy. It was directed by the guy that did Boggy Creek, The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Yeah.
Charles B. Pierce, I think.
Yep.
And I first saw. I first learned of him when I was watching MST3K, and they did Legend of Boggy Creek.
Yeah,
that was like really funny. But that was back when I used to watch that show. But that's when I first heard of that. But
yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, like I definitely I feel like Nail Gun Massacre though is one that if you're looking to have a good time with a bunch of friends or just looking for a solo watch,
it's a good hangout movie.
Oh, it is totally a great hangout movie like that.
Trying to think of other ones that are like that, like that have that. I mean, like I think of Evil Dead too. I mean, even though it's not, it's pretty funny. I mean, Evil Dead is funny and crazy. I just think I like it better as a movie though, like as far as the direction and stuff and the effects and everything. But it's sort of the same, it's just like Sam Raimi had a lot of talent versus Terry Lofton, who was kind of like, I don't think he was on that level, obviously, because I don't think he really did anything after that, but or did he? I don't know. But it has that same type of like, kids getting together to go out in the woods and make a movie like type thing,
Yeah. And I mean, I dare say that like both kind of have like about the same budget, but like,
but I mean, I think Sam Raimi's like, his style of directing and all his, creativity was way better than, stuff he did.
Sure.
Better, yeah. All the effects and
like it's so interesting. Like you said, it's about the same budget and, you can tell one is really creative and is going to go somewhere. And the other one
just kind of like, it has some interesting stuff, but it's not super creative or anything. I mean, it's just like, let's have the guy shoot people with nails and, make it, add some little jokes.
And again, I mean, this would even actually, I think, go, even though they're very different movies, I feel like this and Evil Dead, the original, would actually go together quite nicely.
It would be fun. Just like you could like do a theme of like low budget, low budget horror movies or something, whatever, low budget thrillers or something set in the rural place. I don't know what the theme would be exactly, but I guess just
and like sometimes you just I like kind of putting on just two super random movies that have no real connective tissue.
It's interesting.
But so it is, I think, a lot of fun. Certainly if you've never seen it, it's keep your expectations low, but like very low.
But it's it does have that enjoyable quality to it. It's not like I think that's what you'll enjoy it on some level. You'll be like, okay, this is sort of goofy and stuff, but but it's just very enjoyable. It has like a charm to it, like kind of like a people making a movie, like just going and making a movie and regardless, and not planning it 100% well or whatever.
Or at all.
They probably just like, I mean, when you think about it, they probably like a lot of the stuff they probably just kind of like made up like, on the day, like they said, okay, what are we going to do in this scene? Like, oh, we'll have the guys out, like, chopping wood out in the woods, and then we'll have her just drive up and in the hearse. And, what I mean? It's like, I don't think there's very much, planning behind that, but
and again, they knew that they were making, something cheesy, and there is the other aspect of this movie I kind of wanted to touch upon is it almost feels satirical in a way,
like a satire of like a rape revenge movie. I don't know,
or just like horror and the exploitation genre. I mean, not full satire, but there are, I feel like some very meta moments, like the guy with the chainsaw that's like, if anyone comes around here, I'll get him with this.
Right. It's just like making like little nods to like other horror movies or something.
And like that's clearly a little wink to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I'm trying to think, what is there anything else in there? I don't know. Like, I don't know if the hearse is like a reference to anything. There was a movie called The Hearse, but I don't know if that that had anything to do with it, but probably just But I mean, just the whole idea of like, driving around in a hearse, like, like there's the killer driving around in a hearse. It's like, so just kind of like, funny that just on its surface.
Yeah. Again, it very much is so funny because it almost sort of has that same tone, maybe not quite as over the top, but of the Texas Chainsaw sequel.
Yeah, Texas. Yeah, because I mean, that one was like, I always say, like the first film was actually sort of like a black comedy to me. Like when I first saw it, it wasn't. But like as I got older and I would rewatch it, it just got kind of funnier and funnier to me for some reason. Then like the second one was just full on comedy. Like, that was just like, total screwball antics almost with a chop top and stuff. You know what I mean? It just was like a goofy, like funny movie. And it's sort of like, I mean, I kind of like can see like, even though between Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and Nail Gun Massacre, that's probably even would be a good double feature. Like, just like, as far as like the tone goes,
Yeah, because the tone, you're right. Like the tone is very similar. Like it is over the top,
goofy, screwball comedy.
Yeah, like
screwball horror, I guess.
Very snarky, like very again.
With the little like, his all the little chop tops, little comments and stuff, like, like whatever I can't remember all this, dog will hunt, like, it's like all that crazy stuff.
But yeah, no, it's like it's definitely like if you kind of dig that sort of type of humor. Like I know some people don't really like a lot of humor in their horror, and if you don't, you will not probably like Nail Gun Massacre.
I really love, that's one of those things I love, like comedy horror. Like I love like Reanimator and stuff like that. Like I love those types of
and
Evil Dead, of course, and but I've never been like against like comedy horror at all. But then I also do like the real, the more serious stuff too, of course. But I'm pretty open to that.
And I always feel like I have a lot of reverence for people that can pull off horror and comedy, because they're so anytime you sort of mash genres together, it's really difficult, and you have to really hit that balance of horror and comedy. Like, it has to be, it has to like,
work.
It has to thrive on it. It's horror, but then it also has to be funny enough to work as part comedy as well. And it seems really easy, but it really isn't. Like that's why I feel like movies like Shaun of the Dead that can
that was a good one. That's a good example. That's a really fun one too.
Like
but I think I really like the ones that are like black comedies, like like they really like they show the difference, the similarities between comedy and horror, that type of stuff. Like, what I mean? Like, if someone falls down and like, hits their head, and it's like, it's just funny funny and kind of sad at the same, or funny and scary, and, that type of thing at the same time, whatever it is,
yeah, definitely. Like it's like Edgar Wright is somebody that can really do this sort of mash up of genres in a way that is really incredible, because again, it's so difficult, but it's somebody that makes it look so easy, like anybody can do it. And like, trust me, I've seen so many movies that try to kind of replicate that same sort of Shaun of the Dead horror comedy thing.
They don't really pull it off, like, type thing.
No, because it's either like too much comedy and it's too broad, or like it's just like the balance isn't quite right, and it doesn't work.
Yep, true. Yeah, I agree. But I mean, I really liked Shaun of the Dead. Like, I just liked the way the tone of it and stuff, and I liked how they were just like, kind of like going through their day, and then all of a sudden, like this zombie like horde comes across comes into the scene, and they're like trying to like deal with it and stuff, and it's just like the whole British setting and stuff that just adds like the humor to it, all the different little things that we don't know about, but like for them, like all their little quirky things that they do over there is like, that just was made it like interesting to me.
And again, like, so to kind of like pull this back to Nail Gun, I mean, it definitely I mean, I would say this is like part comedy.
I think it was. I think like once you hear her like say the quip like in the first kill, you're like, okay, I know what kind of movie this is going to be now. This isn't going to be like dead serious stuff. This is like, this is like kind of like a, you know what I mean? It's sort of like a comedy mixed with revenge.
And yeah, and I think that's so smart, because if you know that you don't have the budget or like talent to make a really good horror movie, kind of going that tongue-in-cheek sort of route is
it makes more sense.
Bet. Yeah, like, because it allows us to be in on the joke, like, then they can kind of say, oh well, it's
supposed to be that way.
It's supposed to be.
It's goofy. Like, it's goofy. That was on purpose.
Yeah, and you know damn well it's not, but like, you know, they allow us to kind of like go with it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it just makes it, you know, more easy to watch or something. I don't know what it is, but
yeah, but no, I mean, it is
easy to get into.
Yeah, like it's pretty smart, because if you know you're not gonna pull off something like The Evil Dead, where you have these amazing elaborate shots and actually pretty interesting
effects and everything.
Yeah, like if you don't have the budget or creativity, like at least
you have a few laughs and stuff, like, you know, a little.
Yeah, because if they're not laughing with you, they're gonna be laughing at you.
Right. True. Yeah, it's true. But
yeah.
So that was a good pick, though. I mean, we'll have to get into some, like, you know, we'll have to have you on again and, like, you know, do some other more, like, you know, some other movies that we like, were like Grindhouse movies, that, because actually this one was straight to video, right? Straight to video.
Yeah, I believe so.
So it didn't get to play in any theaters, which is, that kind of like leaves out that aspect. But
yeah, now I believe that they have had revivals of this on the big screen, but I feel like that was many years after.
Yeah, right.
The fact, but
yeah,
it was definitely like one of those, you know, there in the 80s, there was a market for
straight to video
stuff, because so it's really interesting, because at a certain point a lot of studios were reluctant to do their back catalog on VHS, so you had this period where you didn't have a lot of studio stuff to pick from, so you had this like you know, you had like empty space that you needed to fill, so these filmmakers, it was sort of the gold rush of like filmmaking, where
indie filmmaking or something, you know, whatever.
Yeah, like where, you know, you could
genre filmmaking.
Yeah, like you could get not a huge budget, but you could get a
200,000. I don't know how much it would be, even less than that. I don't know.
Yeah, but like you could get a budget to make a film, and you know, it'd be pretty profitable, because you know, horror has always kind of been a tried and true
genre,
like profitable genre.
But I was also thinking, like, around the same time this movie was being made, probably like I think this another movie was being made in the same state, which was like Blood Simple. So that was like the Coen brothers' first movie. I think they filmed that in Texas. So it's like, it shows you like the talent wise, like, you know what I mean? Like they were kind of doing like a thriller, like a neo-noir thriller, but, you know, it wasn't the same as, you know, same genre really as this, but, you know, it just shows you like the talent wise, like they really like created a whole career out of that, because the movie was so good.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Like just what people can do with you know, not only budget but talent. And again, like I think part of the charm, though, is, you know, I don't think I would like this movie as much as if it was serious? Like, well, if it was like how do I want to say, like if it had a big budget, but then it just came off really cynical and it wasn't trying. I kind of like that scrappy underdog kind of low budget.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it has that aspect to it, which is what kind of like separates it from something else. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, because you see these movies that have really big budgets, but then it just comes off as insincere,
or it's like generic or something, too generic or something. Like this sort of has like a quirky quality, like a unique quirky quality, because it's kind of has because of the flaws type thing, that type, you know.
Yeah, and I think a lot of fans can spot like insincerity and like they can kind of tell when it's just somebody that's phoning it in for a paycheck.
Right.
And, you know, Nail Gun Massacre has a ton of flaws, but I feel like you can tell they were having fun making this.
Maybe like it was coming from the heart. I don't know. Like, I don't know for
yeah.
sure,
Like I don't think that this was
It was a genuine thing.
I don't think this was Lofton's Citizen Kane or anything, but I could tell
the Citizen Kane.
But
this is my Citizen Kane Nail Gun Massacre.
I mean, yeah, it could be for some people, and hey, more power to you.
I know, it's funny,
but
but it's good, fun movie though. I mean,
it really is, and I feel like it's one it's kind of why I picked this, because I feel like not a lot of people really talk about it.
Yeah, I don't think they do really. I mean, compared to like some other ones,
it is a fun movie. Like I also would love to talk about The Pit sometime, which is
The Pit. I'm trying to think if I've actually seen that. I might have seen part of it. I'll have to, if we do like an episode on that, I'll have to rewatch it, of course. But
so
I know about it though.
So I will say that like The Pit is another one that like I am really obsessed with. It's such a Frankenstein film in terms of not like the mythos, but that it just stitches all these other movies together.
That's pretty like you mean like it takes like ideas from other movies and like puts it into this one or something?
Yeah, like it's just I kind of call it like a blender film, but where they take a ton of like ideas. Like The Pit has like it's a revenge film, a la Carrie, but then it's like supernatural, but then it's a monster film, but then it's sort of supernatural.
It's a killer kitty film.
Yeah, it's
that little thing.
Yeah, like it's so wonderfully bizarre, but then it kind of has this 70s made for TV sort of aura.
Sounds good. I'd like that one. That's the type, I like that type of those types of movies. So it sounds
it's like Kino has a beautiful Blu-ray of that, and I highly recommend just blind buying it.
Cool. Sounds good to me. I'll check it out. Yeah, I think I haven't seen that one all the way through, but I've heard about it and I've read like reviews of it. But the way you're describing it makes me want to like watch it. So
yeah, I am like this movie's maybe number one fan. I feel like I am obsessed with it. Like I like Nail Gun Massacre, but like
this one even more.
Yeah, I probably legit seen The Pit like 20 times.
Oh wow, that's a lot. So that's a big. You're a big fan then. Wow.
Yeah, it's just fun because it's so bizarre, and that movie, I actually like watched pretty early in my like horror upbringing. Like Anchor Bay did.
Oh yeah, Anchor Bay. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, they did a DVD release of that in like the early to mid 2000s. And
was this a Canadian movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is wonderfully bizarre.
Sounds good.
It certainly is more coherent than the Nail Gun Massacre, although it is just insane.
Just as wacky.
Yeah, wacky is probably putting it mildly, but
bizarre.
Now I'm kind of hyped up. I feel like this is a teaser for maybe like
another episode.
Yeah,
that would be cool. I'd love to like watch that and like discuss it, because I mean, it's like with each movie like you talk about, there's always like you'll always have like new things to, like new ideas of like what to discuss with it. You know what I mean? Not like, I'm just saying like, as far as like, like Nail Gun Massacre is one thing, but then I'll watch The Pit and I'll be like, oh yeah, this reminds me of this, or, I thought about this, and, whereas something in Nail Gun Massacre maybe didn't, emote so many things from my, film watching, trivia mind, but that's it. I'm kind of rambling, but
no, I get what you're saying though. Like it's like, it's so interesting because watching these movies can kind of, get you down a whole like rabbit hole of other kind of similar weird.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Are we wrapping up on Nail Gun Massacre?
Yeah, like I would just say, in closing, that if you love wonderfully cheesy, grimy but funny horror films, it's fun, and especially that like if you can like safely gather with some people and have a good time.
Yeah, that's what's good about the movie is it's not like too like offensive. Like it kind of like just kind of walks that line. Like, there's some, bloody stuff in there, but it's sort of like, since it has that little comedic edge, it's like, you know what I mean? It's a perfect movie to watch with like a bunch of people, and you can kind of like, it's not too serious, and it's just a good time type movie. Like,
yeah, like
really having fun.
Yeah. Like, again, it does start off with some pretty,
the beginning is probably the worst part, but I mean
the roughest part, but
that's not very graphic, but
yeah, and thankfully it's not like super like grossly prolonged or anything. It's just
basically just like giving you the idea of what happened, just to like set up the story like a little bit, and just
a little. And again, it's so interesting because I don't know if this ever was like considered that provocative, because it's pretty tame gore wise, but
right.
I mean, you certainly can like watch much worse stuff on TV right now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's crazy how much like graphic stuff is on TV these days.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like, I wonder if this was ever on the video nasty list.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if it was or not. I'm not sure,
because this would have been that time.
Maybe.
Yeah, like the mid 80s.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but
yeah, no, it's a good time. Again,
yeah, it is.
It's one of those, if you like kind of stupid, silly kind of movies. Yeah. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely a good movie to watch with like a crowd, like, because you're like, you're giving all these comments and stuff, like, you're like, oh my, I can't believe this is happening.
Oh yeah,
whatever.
Dude, it
has that type of like,
Yeah, this is definitely like a party movie. Like,
yep.
That it's fun. You can watch it solo and have a good time, but like, when you have some like-minded friends.
Yeah, and getting everybody's like commentary, like as it's going on, is like just adds to the fun of it, like type thing.
Yeah. Again, everything is so absurd at times. Like the dialogue is just like, I think I said, yeah.
And through the whole movie, like, well, I wonder what she's gonna do. What the killer's gonna do next, type thing. Like, like what type of crazy, like, attack scene is gonna happen in next. That's like what I was thinking.
I mean, like, the only thing is, like, I wish they would have like pushed the absurdity even farther.
Like what would be an example, like, of what you would want to see?
Just maybe. I feel like there's some scenes that like they could just really go into just being really weird and surreal, or if not that, just maybe make the kills a little more over the top. But I mean, yeah, it's fun. It's certainly like fun enough that like I've seen it a few times. Right. I wanted to like talk about it because I feel like, again, it's not something that is talked about enough, I think.
Right. It's not. I mean, I don't really hear people talk about this one as much as like, other ones of like that era, but I mean, it's good. I'm glad that you picked this one for the show. So
yeah, like it's certainly like when we talk about 80s horror, we definitely think about the classics and
slasher films mostly and stuff, and like
this is definitely a slasher film, but it's
I think so. Nail gun instead of a axe or knife.
Yeah, and again, the tagline, "It's cheaper than a chainsaw," sort of tells you everything you need to know about this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like gives you the tone of it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you could say that it nails it.
Right. Exactly. So I was thinking we could do like some Blu-ray picks up next, just to like see like what you're watching, like if there's any stuff, like we were talking about the Shawscope Volume 1 box, and and we both bought that, but I had a couple gripes. Like I noticed like there was a couple titles I wish that were in there, and it was the Chinese Boxer and 36th Chamber of Shaolin. Those weren't in there, and I really wish they were, because those are two of my favorites. But that's just like my little gripe of mine.
Yeah, now I feel like they did the Chinese Boxer as a solo release.
Yeah, but that was from another company,
yeah, so that was actually released
88 Films, I think, right?
88 Films did that in November. Yeah.
I just wish they could have gotten that one, because that's like one of my most favorite kung fu films.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I will also say that the 88 films release is really stellar and worth picking up.
Yeah,
like it's $20 on Amazon right now. So
yeah, I gotta get that one. I almost got that, but I got the Shawscope box instead with all the other ones. But Chinese Boxer is one of my most favorite kung fu films. But then like 30, I don't know if 36th Chamber is like not owned by Arrow or something or what, but I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that was put out recently too. I'm looking it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So that one, it seemed like had a 2010 release.
Was it Dragon Dynasty? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I just didn't get that one, but I did. I'm just saying, like, as far as like the box set goes, like I'm very like, you know, you're very picky, like, because you'll
sure
be a few of your favorites, but then there's like 2 or 3 others that you're like thinking to yourself, I wish this one was in there instead of that one, you know, that type of stuff. I mean, so.
But it's a really stunning looking set. I actually did a really cool unboxing video where, you know, I like pick it apart and you can see how kind of awesome.
It's a really nicely like designed box set and everything.
It really is. I mean, it's once that thing goes out of print, it's going to be expensive. And I feel like if you're a fan of like Shaw Brothers films,
those are awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the rumor is we're going to get a volume 2 like later this summer.
That'll be good. I probably won't be able to pick that one up because it's like a little steep for my pocketbook, but
yeah, so that's a good one. So I'm always have been obsessed with like Severin. Like,
oh yeah, they put out a lot of good stuff too. Yeah, they always have.
My pick is something that they released pretty recently, and that is Don't Go in the House. And actually, the street date on that is the 8th of February, and it's a awesome 2-disc set. This movie is pretty amazing. It's this guy that kills people with a flamethrower. Yeah. And
I call him Donnie Disco Inferno Kohler. That's his name. That's what I call him.
But like this release is stacked though. It's like I said, it's 2 discs. It has a alternate TV cut of the film, and then it has it has I think 3 different cuts of the movie.
I'm looking at the list right here. It's like there's like tons of stuff. It's like 2K restoration. There's 89-minute television version with additional scene. I mean, I should get this one because this is like one of my favorite slasher films. So I'd really like to get this with all this stuff.
Yeah, and so I actually got a copy of it to review, and
cool.
It looks spectacular.
Really, that's awesome. Yeah.
And you know, they put a lot of love in this release, and if you are a fan of this film,
I should get it.
Yeah, it's certainly worth checking out.
That's mint.
And then
was it February 7th, 2022? Was where
or the February 8th is the street date on that one, at least on Amazon. And then my other pick is from Blue Underground, and they've been doing a really excellent job at doing like 4K releases. So this is the 70s cult classic, The Toolbox Murders.
Oh yeah, that's another awesome one. 4K ultra.
Yeah, and again, it looks spectacular. It has a ton of new features.
Yep. Audio commentaries with different people, and
so like the first disc has the old commentary ported over from the previous release, and it also has a new commentary track, and has a ton of, like, the Blu-ray has a ton of new features, new interviews,
director interview, and there's some other I have the list also.
It has the director new interview, a couple of the actors, there was like all the archival stuff that they ported over to this release. So like, for instance, I've never owned this on any format.
Okay.
I'm kind of ashamed to admit, but this is kind of awesome because this is sort of the ultimate, you know, because
release.
like it ports over everything. from the previous releases, plus new stuff. Plus, it looks like
awesome,
fantastic.
You won't have to get another one after you get this one.
Yeah, no, it's really great, and I'm kind of hoping that like Tobe Hooper's remake gets re-released now.
When was that released? Like, you know,
let me look it up really quick.
1986.
That was January 18th.
Well, I'm saying like the movie itself, like when.
The movie itself was 1978.
Oh, 1978.
Yep.
Okay. What was the deal with that again? Like it was like a. I thought Tobe Hooper was gonna direct this, and then he didn't direct it. What was like the thing? I don't know. Or was it? Was it a remake? I don't know.
Yeah, so there's the 70s version, and then Tobe Hooper did a remake. I'm looking it up because I don't recall when it was.
This one is the original one is 1978, but he did it like the 80s or something, or the 90s.
Yeah, so the remake was from 2004, and it's just called Toolbox Murders.
I remember seeing that, but I haven't never seen it before. But
yeah, and not to be super confusing, but like the Blue Underground release is the original 78 version.
Right. Right. I've seen that one. It's been a while though, so I'd like to see this. You know, the new updated. You know, the just like the new release, the Blu-ray release, just to see how it looks. And
yeah, again, it actually makes a pretty good double feature, I think, with Don't Go in the House, because they're both sort of grimy,
Grindhouse type movies. Yeah, really like violent and stuff.
Yeah, like tonally, this is definitely not as tongue in cheek as like say Nail Gun, but
right. I always think that Don't Go in the House and Maniac would be a good double feature.
Oh yeah,
because they kind of take place in the same. I don't know if they're. I think both of them are in New York.
Yeah,
and like it just has like from that same like I think they're from the same year too, 1980, right? So I think they're
let me check.
They sort of they're both like really good like Grindhouse type horror movies, slasher movies.
Yeah. Yeah, Don't Go in the House was 1980, and I'm pretty sure Maniac was 1980 as well.
That would be a good double feature, I think. But
yeah, and Blue Underground also has a really awesome 4K of Maniac. So
yep, I reviewed the Blue Underground Blu-ray on the site so a while ago. I don't know if it was like a couple years ago or something, but yeah, that was awesome. It looked really good.
Yeah, the 4K of Maniac came out in 2020. So yeah,
that's awesome. The Blue Underground does in Grindhouse releasing and Blue Underground, like both their transfers of like the Blu-rays are like so beautifully done. They look like they're just like all the movies are just like been shot yesterday. They're so like perfectly.
Yeah, they've been killing it. Like Maniac was really pretty amazing because I had seen that movie so many times on like VHS and then DVD.
Yeah, like an old grimy like faded version of them.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're certainly a fan of like those kind of like early 80s grimy kind of films,
definitely, I love those.
Yeah.
So those any other picks on your list, or is that?
That's what I had for now, but I mean, there's certainly probably some more that I could probably think of. Like Severin did a really awesome nunsploitation box set.
Oh yeah, I mentioned that on the first show. The Nasty Habits, I think. Yeah, that looked really good.
That's a fun one, and I mean, my favorite is probably like the images in a convent.
Yeah. I can't remember. I think I've seen like I think I saw like two of the ones out of the whatever how many are on the box set, but I've seen a couple of those. But I do like nunsploitation. That's a good genre too.
Yeah, and if you're pretty like I'm fairly new to that. I will admit, like I haven't seen a lot of those. Like it's a good place to start with nunsploitation.
It's a good like introduction box.
Yeah.
Get into it.
So yeah, that would definitely be something that I think is awesome, and it's like on sale right now for like $75 for a nice box set. You can't beat that.
That sounds really good. So I had a couple picks too. The first one I have to say was a surprise because we were just talking about it we did the December 2021 wrap up episode, and I was like, oh, this is my number 5 pick, and it was The Farmer, and I'm like, oh, they really need to release this on Blu-ray someday. Then like a week later, like I see like they're releasing it on Blu-ray like in a month. I'm like, I can't believe it. So I mean, this is one of those movies like where when I was like first like kind of, I was into like these movies for like a long time, like when I was younger and stuff, but when I first like really was getting into like, the Grindhouse, like kind of learning about Grindhouse history more, and not just like watching movies. This was one of the films, like I saw the trailer and I was like, I wish I could see that movie. It was probably like 1996 or something like that. So that's how long it's been since I've wanted to see the movie. Then I actually got to see like a kind of a crappy copy of it, like, like a month ago or so. And it's like, I couldn't really, but then I was thinking to myself, like, they really need to release this movie, like in a good, condition. And I couldn't believe like to see like they're finally putting it out on Blu-ray. It's like awesome. But
yeah, like it's so funny. Like we, my friend and I were talking about like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. We were talking about that the other day, and I was like, gosh, like that movie was one of my favorites. I like rented that so many times as like from the video store as a teenager that like my parents were like, just buy the damn movie because you'll save more money. But what was funny was like a couple of days ago, they announced that they're doing a 4K of that.
Oh yeah. And who's
Arrow
releasing that one?
Arrow Video's doing that
video. Yeah. I think I saw something about that, but that's one of your like favorites from like a long time ago, right?
Oh yeah. Like it's one of those movies that like really gets under your skin. And I know a lot of people, it's very polarizing, right?
Is that one based on the real guy?
Yeah. So it's kind of loosely based on Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole.
Right.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's really, it's one of those movies that it goes right for the jugular. Like
it's almost like a semi-documentary like type thing. Like
real. And what's so kind of creepy is it really is filmed with almost a documentary like style, and
that just makes it even more creepy.
it does, because you feel like you're I mean, it puts you well and thoroughly on the side of Henry.
It humanizes him more, I guess.
I don't know if it necessarily humanizes him, but it definitely like puts you in his shoes. Like it's very disturbing, and I feel like it's probably very intimidating for some people. But like I was definitely a weird teenager, so like I kind of gravitated towards like stuff like that.
Right.
So like to me, like it's kind of funny to watch like Joe Bob Briggs like talk about how like crazy and disturbing this movie is, and how like it alienates a lot of its viewers. And I'm like, man, like this is like so old hat for me. But I don't know if that's not really necessarily a brag. But
you're like, oh yeah. But I mean, it's like it's just that those types of movies, like they just resonate with you for some reason, or whatever.
Yeah, no, I think like it's not that I mean, I certainly as I get older, I definitely like understand more of like how it is really disturbing, and it is like very creepy. But I mean, it's so weird. Like when you view stuff as a teenager, like you have a different mindset. Like
you're not mature yet, so you're seeing it from a different perspective or something.
Yeah, like I was looking at it from like a gore hound, like wanting to see everything super outrageous and you know.
I think we're all like that when we're like teenagers.
Yeah, and now
the craziest stuff ever. Like,
oh yeah, like this was definitely around the time where I was like discovering like old school Peter Jackson, like
Dead Alive, and all those movies
and Brain Damage.
I love those. Those are almost sort of like the Australian Sam Raimi films. Like to me, like those the crazy like zany. I love those. Those are awesome. I like those. Like I never got into Lord of the Rings. I like those other his early movies the most. I love those.
Yeah, like I had this really like fun little story. Like my sister at the time, and I was probably like 15, 16. And like, so this guy that my sister was dating, like was like this punk guy, was like full like decked out punk
Punk rocker.
Yeah, and like, so he worked at a video store and he stole a copy of Bad Taste and gave it to me. And he's like, yeah, he's like, dude, you totally would dig this. And I still have that VHS.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And I feel
what year was that? Like 1987 or something? I don't know. Later. I don't know.
Yeah, that's on like. Let me look.
Something
real
like
quick. 87. Yeah, but the thing I love the most is it was like a stolen VHS, which I feel like is so fucking like punk rock. And
that is awesome.
Way to watch that.
That was mint. It makes more special.
Yeah, and again, like I probably watched Bad Taste like, I don't know, at least
200 times,
20 times. Yeah. And you know, I finally got it on DVD from Anchor Bay, and now like there's a rumor that the Blu-ray might be coming this year.
That would be an awesome one to get too. Yeah, I love those. Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know like if anyone's heard this, but like supposedly Peter Jackson's going to be working on supervising like some of his old films on Blu-ray.
That would be great. I'd love
to get so those. Like there's a rumor that like Arrow Video might be doing it, but then I don't know.
I don't know who else would be like the go-to.
I mean, I don't know. Like I think Scream Factory would also
Scream Factory,
a killer job.
They would.
But like I would love to see like so I have Dead Alive on Blu-ray, but then I also kind of have like a like the unrated cut, which is called what was it, like Brain Damaged in the original title. And it's like longer. I mean, it's actually gorier, if you can actually believe that. But
now that's like almost like what we were talking about with like Nail Gun Massacre. Now that's another thing, like another director where it was like those were super low budget too, but like his creativity and stuff was just so like awesome. I just it just so it's like next level stuff. Like, you know what I mean, it's just
like with Bad Taste, so okay, I saw Bad Taste before Lord of the Rings. Before that even came out. So like seeing these movies. Like even Bad Taste, even with it being low budget and cheesy, like you could tell there was a creativity. You could tell.
Definitely. That's what that was like with Sam Raimi, the same. Yeah. You can tell like if they had a budget, they would do like just amazing stuff like with it.
Like there's certainly like, even at that young age, I could tell that that was like a auteur, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
definitely.
This person had a singular vision.
And they were able to execute like all those crazy ideas and stuff. And like, when you watch certain movies, like they just have like an electricity to them. You just know like, okay, this guy is like a genius type thing. You know what I mean?
Like I'm trying to think. I feel like I saw Dead Alive first and I was like hooked.
Yep.
And then I saw Bad Taste and I knew that like I was like well and thoroughly into Peter Jackson's films.
Then I'll watch like King Kong and I'm like, I hate this. I'm just like, the CGI is just, I don't know. I just did not like, because I love the original King Kong and I even like the 1976 version. So like when I saw this, his version, I don't know. I just didn't like it very much. I just didn't think it worked very good. Too much CGI and it was just goofy. It wasn't in it, like not in a good way. Like it was just terrible.
Now, have you seen Meet the Feebles?
I haven't. I don't think I've seen that one, but I've seen the two.
Oh man,
those other two.
Meet the Feebles.
What is Meet the Feebles about? Is it like puppets or something? I can't remember what the hell.
It's this puppet variety show, and it's established that like the animals are like just part of like everyday, like the world that he creates.
So there's like real people and puppets. I don't know when the. Or is it just puppet? I
think it's just puppets. It's been actually a little while since I've seen Meet the Feebles, but I remember really liking it.
I've heard of it, like I've heard. That's one of the ones I just haven't seen, but I've heard of it for like years.
It's super polarizing for like fans of like Jackson's early stuff. I know Peter Jackson didn't particularly like it, but again,
I'll have to check it out.
It's so fucking nuts, but there's a lot of creativity and talent and.
Right.
Like
that's what you're responding to is all that.
And again, it's so funny because like this very much feels like Avenue Q way before Avenue Q even was a thing. So
yep.
But yeah, I mean, it has the same like co-writer as like the Lord of the Rings films. So
what's her name? Philippa, or is that
Fran Walsh?
Oh yeah, right.
And yeah, so
must be a producer I'm thinking of, not the writer.
Yeah, so she co-wrote Meet the Feebles and Heavenly Creatures and The Frighteners, and also more famously all like the Lord of the Rings films. But yeah, like she also wrote Dead Alive. So like this movie does have a pedigree behind it.
I gotta see that one, Meet the Feebles.
Yeah, and so unfortunately that one is kind of hard to find like right now. Like I know it had a very short DVD release, which I think is now kind of expensive, but there's a rumor though that Meet the Feebles might be part of this early Peter Jackson box set. So knock on wood.
Yeah, I hope that happens. That would be like really awesome. I'd love
that would be like a day one purchase for me.
Definitely.
Like, I again, it's like not to get too far away from like what we were talking about like originally, but like early Peter Jackson stuff, just like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, like it was like I saw it at such a formidable time in my
that was really influential for you.
Yeah, totally. And I kind of love the fact that like even though Peter Jackson makes these like huge like $1 billion movies, I feel like you can still sort of feel how he never like really lost that like fanboy like love of the genre.
Right. I almost wish you could like go back to like doing those types of movies again with like bigger budgets or something. I don't know, like cool.
And you know, I feel like Peter Jackson's somebody that doesn't take himself like that seriously. Like
he always has a sense of humor. And
like one of the coolest things is, I don't know if you know this, but weird little trivia, he plays, do you ever see Hot Fuzz?
Yeah, Hot Fuzz. I've seen that. Yeah.
So do you remember like the Santa that stabs?
God, it's been
Chris
so
Angel?
long since I've seen the movie though. But I mean, I probably saw that, but I don't really remember.
Yeah, it's like a
details.
flashback scene. He plays like a thief dressed as Santa, but that's Peter Jackson.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Which I fucking love. And
nice.
I mean, that just tells you right there that like even with all the Oscars, all the accolades, like
he's still keeping his connection to the the genre films from his like early days type thing. He always wants to keep doing.
And again, he is somebody that like I feel like still really loves the genre and respects it.
Right.
And like sometimes stuff doesn't work. Like I like King Kong maybe a little bit more than you do, but like it comes it definitely comes from a place of love though. Like
I remember like reading all about it like when he was making it and stuff, and I was like, oh boy, this is going to be really good. But then I don't know, I just like the original ones better, the more like the less CGI stuff. I just don't really I don't care for it.
Very picky. So I mean it's interesting. Like I would love to see Jackson kind of return to the horror genre, but I don't
that would be cool.
See it happening maybe, but
did you see the Beatles Get Back documentary?
I have not, and it's not that like I do like the Beatles, like I'm not a diehard fan, but
I'm not either, but I just happened to see it on the list of stuff to watch, and I was like, oh, I'll just check this out and see what it's like. And it was really cool. Like the footage is amazing. It looks like it's brand new. Like, so it's just weird seeing like the Beatles, like John Lennon and all those guys just making their music, and like they're like, it's sort of like it shows like the artistic process like of like how they did it and stuff. Like they just basically what they do is they just like play like their favorite songs for like a couple hours, then they'd be like, oh yeah, let's try this bit, and they kind of like they would end up making their own new song out of like stuff that they used to play all the time like in the clubs and stuff. It's weird like how they did it. I don't know.
It's really interesting. I mean, Jackson is somebody that has such an interesting career. Like when you look at his filmography from like the 80s all the way to now.
What did he do? What did he do like after the was it like the Frighteners, and then then he did the Lord of the Rings. I guess that's how he.
Yeah. So like the Frighteners, he pivoted from that right to like so the Frighteners was released in '96, and the first Lord of the Rings was 2001,
right?
And I mean it's crazy. I mean you could talk about Jackson all day long, but I feel like he like if anyone listening to this has never seen like his early movies, like Bad Taste, Meet the Feeble, Dead Alive, like
they should definitely check those out.
Yeah, like those three, I think are like amazing. Like even Meet the Feebles, where people don't seem to like it, I fucking like still love it.
Yeah, those are definitely like awesome. Some of my favorite, like I guess you could call those splat stick movies, like the Evil Dead ones. You know what I mean? They both have like that same type of crazy like comedy going on. That's what I loved about those. That's like probably a prime example of the comedy horror that I like that type of stuff. It's like gory and like just over the top and like screwball and comedy and stuff.
And I mean that does like tie in really well with kind of what we were talking about of like how
the comedy horror stuff.
Yeah, and I mean Dead Alive I feel like is like the pinnacle of that.
And I always remember the scene with when they're eating the soup in the movie, like the ear falls off, and then like eating the ear with like that pudding or whatever the hell it is. It's like I don't know what the hell it was. It was so gross. It's like pus and like blood and like mixed in with the pudding. Oh,
yeah, and again, like I saw this at such a right age. Like I was probably like 14, 15.
Yeah. And
see,
I think what happened with you is the same thing that happened with me at that age with Evil Dead. That's when I first saw Evil Dead, was when I was like 13 and 14. So I was like, I just loved those movies.
Yeah.
Probably had the same thing happen with you with Peter Jackson.
Oh yeah, totally. And Evil was like even like with the Evil Dead. Like I remember like the first money that I ever earned myself, I bought
the VHS or something.
the VHS, of the Evil Dead, and
but it's like the thing is with me, I didn't see those Peter Jackson movies until like way later. I just didn't know about them. It took like 20, 15, 20 years before I actually ever saw them. So, but I definitely see like, the connection there and between them.
I mean, they certainly like if, like I feel like the kind of cool thing about like Bad Taste and Dead Alive is they're great like starter horror movies. Like they're not like Bad Taste is more like action sci-fi like horror. Like in
there's
that
the aliens in it.
And like huge ass aliens at that.
Those crazy weird.
But but I guess like what my point is, you could show that to somebody like a young person and it not, because I mean there's really like no nudity, there's no like
real graphic stuff. It's like gory, but it's like funny stuff like
and like the humor kind of undercuts the gore, right? Like where it almost feels like a cartoon instead of like.
And it's funny that you were talking about the puppet thing, because I don't know why his movies have this like weird like Muppet humor type thing to it, like like with the aliens and stuff. It's like like I don't know, it just reminds me of like the Muppets for some reason, like those the aliens.
Totally, like
you know what I mean. It's like, but it has like the goriness in there too. It's just weird. It's a weird mixture of. It must be like New Zealand humor, like Kiwi humor. Or something. I don't know what it is.
Well, and what's it's so interesting about Bad Taste is like they like he does this really interesting thing where he like creates this like this whole like world, like this whole like mythos of like this like alien hunting team, and like he does it in such a way where it feels like pretty effortless, where it's
just a matter of fact like type stuff. Matter of fact.
Yeah, like this is what these guys do, like this is their job, and this is just like a snapshot in like what they do.
It's just every day for them, another Tuesday for them.
And again, it's so wonderfully gross out, like in Bad Taste, like there's that like vomit scene.
I know, crazy. I love all that stuff.
So
and it's also, it's like one director would do it one way, but then Peter Jackson has his specific vision of like how he wants to do it, and that just makes all the difference. Like, you know what I mean? It just totally, takes it to the next level.
And again, even seeing that at a young age, and again, like I said, I stress that this was like even before like he was doing like the Lord of the Rings movies, was like right. I could like tell even at a young age, like this guy's talented, right? Like this movie is like really well put together, even though it's low budget, maybe some of like the plotting is a little shaggy, but like it
was very solid, like he just had like a vision and like he really like executed it really well, like type thing, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
like
and again,
it could be like a movie with like crazy aliens and gore, or it could be Lord of the Rings. He knew how to like put everything together and have it like work well. That was like that's why he was so talented to me.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's definitely awesome, good stuff. I'm like hoping, I'm just sending it out in the universe that we get that box set this year, because that would be amazing.
Definitely agreed on that. Yeah, it's true. But I was talking about The Farmer, and I was just remember when we were, what I was saying before about The Farmer was it'd been like years since I wanted to see this film. It's like, I think it was like 1996 when I first saw it, when I first like heard about it. I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, I got to see that film. But then finally now it's going to be on Blu-ray, which is like crazy. I can't believe it. So really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like, I think it's next month. It's going to be on from let's see, it's Scorpion releasing. Yep. And that has it has like, I don't know if it's going to have like any audio commentaries, but it has like a new, of course, a new transfer and stuff like that. And, so we'll find, because I guess there was a copy floating around. It was just like an old, I don't even know if it was a VHS tape. It was like a something type of copy of it, like Betamax or something. I don't know what it was, but that's the copy I saw. And it's just, you can hardly even see the movie. It's terrible. But, I just wanted to see it so bad. So I just watched that just to get an idea what the movie was like. But I think it's one of those things where when you see like the cleaned up version, you'll be like, okay, this is like really an awesome film, because you'll be able to see like, all the cinematography and, everything nice and clear. So.
Yeah, I actually I saw that you talked about it, but I actually skipped that one because I want to kind of go in like completely.
That's a good idea, just to go in there fresh and not be spoiled of anything, because I kind of like spoiled some of the stuff, but it's almost like I didn't see the real film because I saw like this like terrible version of it. So it's like it'll be like seeing it for the first time on Blu-ray, I think, that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean that's and like it looks like I was interested, but after your endorsement, I'm definitely gonna like.
I hope like people watching it, I hope it turns out to be like a really like good film, like that people like on Blu-ray and stuff, because it's like, it's kind of like one of those movies where like, I guess we all have those movies like where we'll hear about it for years and we never see the movie, and then finally we see it and we're like, oh, it either lives up to the hype or like, it's just whatever, or you know what I mean? So I think it's a good one. It has like it's sort of like the Exterminator or like Rolling Thunder, like those types of movies, like kind of like a, I don't want to give anything else away about it, but
I was going to say like it kind of, it's funny that you should mention Rolling Thunder, because it almost kind of like just reading like a basic like synopsis of it, it kind of sounded like
it has sort of the same, it follows sort of the same storyline as that, but it's still like different though. It's like different enough. It's not like the same exact thing, but it's sort of they both deal with the guy coming back from the war, but then like after that it's sort of different. It's not really exactly the same as that.
So that might make a good double feature though.
Yeah, but it also came out the same year as Rolling Thunder, so it probably would be a good double feature with that.
Nice.
Sort of like a cool. But then my other pick would be for Blu-rays would be Alligator, which is directed by Louis Teague, and that was like one of another favorite Robert Forster performance. That's one of like his, when he was like kind of doing the exploitation films, like that and Vigilante and Walking the Edge. This is one of his other real popular ones. And that's going to come out on 4K from Scream Factory, and it's loaded with like extras. I think it's 3 discs, so there's tons of stuff in there.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I haven't pre-ordered it yet, but I think like
that'll be a good one, I think, to get. It'll probably look amazing too.
And like it's criminal, but I've never seen that one. So
that's one of my favorite eco terror movies. Nice. Ecological terror movie. Yeah. Like, Nature Strikes Back, I guess you could call it. But
yeah, and it's so funny because I really dig those movies, but
that's one of my favorite.
Like Alligator was kind of like wasn't like super hard to find, but it never felt like it was like really all that available.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me see if I can see if it was on anything else. Let's see. DVD. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't look like it was really it was released on by some DVD company, but I don't know which one it was. It was like let's see, Lionsgate, but it was just like some old DVD from like years and years ago.
Yeah.
So it probably didn't look very good, but
yeah, so that's really exciting.
So that's a nice brand new one, basically.
Now, they're doing the sequel as well. Have you seen that one?
Alligator 2?
Yeah.
No, I never saw that. Probably, I don't know if I'd really like it as much because the cast isn't in there and stuff. And
yeah. But yeah, like I probably very much like you, I'm very much a sucker for like the sort of nature run amok kind of.
And also this like Alligator is like one of those like Jaws ripoffs too. It's sort of like, you know what I mean? Like with Piranha, it's like one of those types of movies. So it's like for the alligators, it's basically the Jaws for the alligator type thing, quality wise,
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. Like I'm definitely
that sounds really good.
That.
And I'm trying to think if there's some other Blu-rays. House on the Edge of the Park, that's another favorite that's coming out on Blu-ray. I love that one. I actually like that one more than Last House on the Left, I think.
Okay.
David Hess and Giovanni Lombardo Radice. I think that's how you say his name. It's tough to say his Italian name correctly, but it's sort of like, like one of those like, people held hostage in their house, like type movies, just genre, that type of.
And it's funny because I've heard of that movie, but that is another one that just kind of slipped through the cracks for me. So I'm really interested to.
If you like really grimy, you like those types of movies, grimy Grindhouse type films, like I think you'd like that one. And then also, 8 Diagram Pole Fighter is coming out on Blu-ray from Arrow Video, and that's another one that would have been cool to have. I don't know if that's going to be in the Shawscope Volume 2 box too, or if that's just a standalone release or what. I'm not sure about that. But that's going to be in April. That's another awesome kung fu film.
Nice.
With Gordon Liu. Yep. Yeah, and then there's another release that I have to mention, Rogue Cops and Racketeers. And that's a double feature from Arrow Video of like Polizio movies. It's The Big Racket and The Heroin Busters. That looks really good too. That's going to be in, let's see, I think that's in April too. That looks really good.
Yeah, that's that one looks really interesting. I haven't seen either one of those films. So
The Big Racket is one of my favorites. The Heroin Busters I like, but I didn't like it as much as The Big Racket. But those are really good. Like I was just saying, like I wish like they would release like an awesome Polizio box with like all my favorite movies in it. But I mean, it's like who knows? But that's going to happen. But it's just cool to see more of those coming out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I mean, like. It's hard to pick like a favorite label because everybody has such a really interesting like
lineup of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but they all have like their own kind of corner where
their specialty, like their
stuff, like Arrow. I mean, Scream.
They kind of do everything though. Arrow has all types of genres. Like they're always like
from
kung fu to horror to sci-fi to everything.
And that's why I feel like it's not like it's hard to actually pick like a favorite label, but I will say the label that always kind of
delivers
is like the most exciting is Arrow, just because as you say that they're so versatile and they're
definitely Arrow is one of them. I mean, and Severin has some like really good different types of movies too.
Yeah,
they always release.
Well, and like Severin's been like absolutely crushing it with these these amazing box sets that they've been doing.
Yeah, they definitely have.
Like the folk horror set. Have you seen?
I've heard of that. And what's in that? What movies are in that, anyways?
So it's massive. It's like 22 movies. Let me just look. Let me look it up so I can tell you that exactly. It's a lot. So it is 20 movies, but it also comes with a CD. And
oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah. So some of the films are really kind of like rare stuff.
What are some like
Lake of the Dead, Tilbury, Allison's Birthday. Let's see, they have there's some
is there only Hammer movies in there too or something? I don't know. Must be different. I don't know what I don't think I've seen any of those.
So I don't think any of these were like Hammer, but a lot of these are just from like all over the world, literally.
What's the actual theme of the box set? It's like folk horror. Yeah,
folk horror. Yeah, so it's called All the Haunts Be Ours, compendium of folk horror, and again,
that sounds different.
Yeah, it's one of those that I get Severin stuff to review, but this is something that I also love these labels enough that I support it with my own dollars.
Right. Yeah.
So I actually just sprung for this box set, and it's fantastic.
That's awesome. What years of the movies? Like the 70s and
so the time frame for these movies is the earliest is 1958, and the latest movie is from 2021.
Oh wow! So it's all different.
Yeah, and probably one of one of the really standout things is it has a really beautiful edition of Eyes of Fire, which is a really previously this was a pretty rare film.
Wow, I haven't seen any of these.
Yeah, and what's so exciting is a lot of these films are making their US debut.
Oh wow, cool.
So they've never been on US Blu-ray before. And something like the British film Robin Redbreast is actually I believe has been restored by the BFI, or at least
what's it called? Robin Redbreast?
Yeah. And then it has a Field in England, which is a newer film. Ben Wheatley. I don't know if you dig his films, but I'm a pretty huge fan.
Yeah, I haven't really seen a lot of his stuff. So
yeah, so
certain directors you just
I feel like you probably really you should check out Kill List, and that might be a good gauge whether you Ben Wheatley's stuff or not.
Because I've heard of him, and I've seen stuff little articles about him and stuff on Letterboxd and stuff. I've seen little interviews with him, but I just don't know enough about him. So, but it's sometimes you just need someone to say, oh yeah, you should try watching this movie because you'd like it. Because it's you just get stuck watching what you watch, and then it helps to have someone tell you something.
Yeah, and gosh, I mean, films are just so vast and never ending. It's hard to really narrow it down sometimes. But the really cool thing is this also has a brand new documentary, Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched, which is a fantastic documentary. And
who's the director? Is her? Do you say her name Kier-La Janisse? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I think so.
Some of these names, it's I can't. I'm wondering if I'm pronouncing them right. I'm always is that right?
It looks right. Yeah, I mean, it's a really great documentary. It actually actually has a standalone release as well.
Because I've been seeing stuff about that, and I've seen that stuff everywhere for about that documentary, but I just haven't gotten around to seeing it. But I should watch that one too.
Yeah,
I'm meaning to watch it, but
it's fantastic. I was actually lucky enough to see it kind of early, I think, for Fantasia Fest. And, it's
and it's and that's all. Is that all folk horror stuff? That's all.
Yeah, and so it's nice because again, you can get it standalone if you want to see it, but you don't want to get the box set. But when you have this box set, it's nice because it's a great primer for what's included in the set. So
that seems like a really unique box set too. It's it's not the standard stuff. It's kind of different.
Yeah. They definitely do not half-ass their box sets. Like they really
awesome.
put a lot of love into it, and
Yep.
I really hope that they do like another folk horror box set.
Oh my God, that's crazy. What's like another example of like a folk horror? Would it be like the Witchfinder General or something like that?
Oh
or,
yeah, definitely. Like it's not in the box set, but like one of the most famous probably is the Wicker Man.
Oh yeah, I love the Wicker Man. So I mean, it's like that type of weird, like, I don't know, how would you describe like the genre? Is it like to do with like cults like from ancient times or something? I don't like.
Yeah,
I don't know,
so like folk horror can basically it's kind of anything to do with like cults or like sort of like a very like nature sort of like combining with like horror and
supernatural in nature. I don't know what like that's what it's hard to describe. Like what hard to
yeah, like there's so like documentary does such a better job than my rambling, but
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it does a really good job at sort of like pinpointing like what folk horror is, and not only that, but
of it and stuff. It tells you like where it like started, and
yeah, and it gives you like a lot of like context between behind like different countries' interpretations of like their own sort of folk horror.
Would Blair Witch Project be folk horror?
Yeah.
So it's like sort of like the stuff with like those types of like stories. It's sort of like we were talking before about Madman, like that type of stuff, like, you know, like myths, like, you know, mythic horror, you know, from like, you know, the.
Oh yeah, like it's so interesting. Like I did like I posed this question on Twitter and it got a lot of really interesting mixed reactions because I was like, would you consider The Fog, John Carpenter's The Fog, folk horror?
Oh yeah, that's like it would be.
It seems like it would be, but it was interesting because I had a lot of people that were like, no, it's more like kind of Lovecraftian. Then,
like breaking it down. No, it's specifically this. But I mean, it sounds like it would be like, though, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's interesting
because like pirates, like, you know, folklore pirates. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, so like it was an interesting, like it was a nice like kind of civil debate whether or not like
like it has to be like, you know, it has to be like set in this certain time or something, or this certain like, you know, group of people.
So like in the documentary, they do a really good job of sort of like what some of the signifiers of folk horror is.
Yeah.
And I don't have.
What about like what like witches and stuff too, right? Witches.
Oh yeah,
that type of thing. Like would Dunwich horror be folk horror? Dunwich horror? I don't know. Like is that H.P. Lovecraft? I don't know.
Yeah, so that probably would maybe be a little bit, but maybe more like Lovecraftian kind of. But yeah, so it's so interesting because again, you know, like I had some people like weighing in saying like The Fog wasn't really folk horror, but then I had some people that were like, yeah, but then like I had some people that were like, but it's not really, but it sort of has elements of.
It has a little bit of folk horror and a little bit of.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So
that's funny.
Yeah, the documentary though it makes it like more like it definitely gives you a better understanding of like the box set going like before you dive into it. I feel like it's good to watch the documentary first.
Right. Just educational way to like find out what it is.
So it kind of gives you sort of like a like overview, I guess.
Right. Folk horror 101.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean the documentary is like 192 minutes, so I mean it's beefy. But what's nice is it's like broken down into chapters. So like if you wanted to just watch it in pieces, you can totally do that.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'd like to check that out. I think I first heard about it was playing like at like film festivals or something or whatever, and something like that.
Yeah, it did really well during the festivals season, like Fantasia and Fantastic Fest and stuff. But yeah, really good. Well worth checking out. I mean, if you can, I think it's like
find a copy. I should be. I think I should be able to find it.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to find right now. Like on Amazon, it's like $200, but I think you can get it a little bit cheaper on Severance site.
Yep. Okay.
And I mean, just speaking strictly as somebody that like bought it and really love Severin. I think it was a really fantastic box set. So
awesome, man. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So are we all done with our Blu-ray picks?
Yeah, like that's
I think that's about it for me.
What I had, yeah. So that I feel like between the two of us, that'll be plenty of things to check out for now.
And then also I saw, another movie that just popped up was this blaxploitation. This is sort of like a lost blaxploitation movie called Solomon King. I haven't seen this one yet though, but that's going to be on Blu-ray too. And I think that label Deaf Crocodile, I don't really know much about them. I've heard they released a few things, but so that's another one I'm kind of like I wanted to check out just to see like how it is, because I've seen the trailer for like years, but I never saw the movie. So it could be like really good or just like whatever, or,
Yeah. I mean, again, I feel like just, it's such an amazing time to be a fan of physical media where there's just so much.
Tons of stuff. God, everything.
Yeah.
Sets, everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is like peak physical media time where like, you're not only getting a lot of like good mainstream stuff, but like there's just
films.
Like there's so many great labels just putting out, like filling in the cracks of like the littler,
definitely
like films. Yeah.
Lost films they're bringing back, and just basically everything. They're covering all types of different levels of cinema, really everything these days.
Yeah, like I know like Vinegar, like
Vinegar Syndrome.
Like the hallmark of them is like they actually have like stuff that is has never been released on maybe any format, or maybe just like VHS, and that's it.
They really like dig down into the into the basement of stuff. Like they'll look through like all type. They release all types of like crazy stuff, like porn movies and stuff, and just everything, like everything.
Yeah, like it's crazy. I just got this really weird, I'll just like sum up really quick. It's called Flesh Eating Mothers, and it's such a bad movie, but I kind of love it.
I don't know if I've seen that one. I might have seen it. I'm not sure. Flesh Eating Mothers.
I mean, I don't know if I can in all good conscience recommend it, but
yeah. It's just one of those movies, those kind of like low budget, like crazy movies you like, I guess.
Oh, dude, it's like low budget's not even the word. It's like almost no budget.
So, yeah, right. No budget. No budget. And what is it, like a horror movie? I think I might have seen it like years ago, but I just don't remember.
So it's really weird. It's like it's horror, but it kind of like is very tongue in cheek, but then it also weirdly takes itself kind of seriously. So
that sounds weird to me.
But it's certainly worth checking out. Even you gotta love like good bad movies to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'll have to look that one up too and see if I like it or not, and see if I like the tone of it and stuff.
Yeah, like if you do, we'll have, maybe that'll be another future.
What year did that one come out? 1980 something? I don't know.
Yeah, let me see. I want to say like the late 80s.
Okay. Sounds familiar though.
1988.
Okay, 1988. Okay. Yeah.
And so like it kind of cribs like some stuff from Cronenberg, where it's like a venereal disease that
body horror.
Yeah, like it very much kind of cribs like Shivers, David Cronenberg Shivers.
Yeah. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's it's not a good film, but it certainly is a film.
Alrighty. Okay, that's a good pick. So I was but to close up the show, I was gonna do the what was playing on the Deuce thing that I usually do.
Okay.
So on this day in January 1981, January 30th, 1981, at the Victory Theater, these three movies were playing: Tongue, Teenage Sex Maid, and Newcomers. Those sound really good. Tongue sounds good. At the Lyric, Maniac, and Behind the Shutters. I don't know what Behind the Shutters is. But I've seen Maniac. I don't know what that. If sometimes these movies will have like alternate names, like you don't know. And then at the Times Square Theater, Slave of the Cannibal God, Contract, and Hotspurs. I've seen Slave of the Cannibal God, but not those other ones. At the Selwyn, Breakthrough, and Ebony, Ivory, and Jade. at the New Amsterdam, Blood Beach, and Don't Answer the Phone. That sounds like a good double feature. At Cine 42, Stir Crazy, When a Stranger Calls, Claws of the Crazy Dragon, Kid with the Golden Arm. That's a classic Shaw Brothers film. At the Liberty Theater, Caligula. At Harris Theater, First Family, and Boulevard Nights. I've seen Boulevard Nights, but I don't know what First Family is. That's weird. Empire Theater, The Bodyguard, Sacred Knives of Vengeance, and Bruce Lee and I. And at the Anko Theater, Soul Brothers of Kung Fu, Killing Machine, and Shaolin Death Squad. That's a good Kung Fu triple feature.
Yeah, that sounds like some really rad, like double and triple features, right?
Have you seen? You must have seen a few of those movies.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like
Maniac,
off the top of my head, like Maniac, and like was it Don't Answer the Phone, and
Blood Beach is the one with the beach, like the hole in the beach that pulls people down into it. You've seen that, probably seen that poster too.
Oh yeah,
that famous poster.
Yeah, that's one that I believe has not had a Blu-ray release, right?
I don't think it has. I'm not sure. I'll have to check on that. But yeah, I don't think it has.
At least not a US. Let me just check now. But that's another one that so at least in the US it has not had a release, but I know that there's like probably some like bootlegs out there, but it's never been officially, at least on Blu-ray.
No, I don't know if it's on DVD. It might be, I don't know.
But yeah, well, like another one that, putting it out there in the universe to hopefully
Blood Beach.
Yeah.
And I think Burt Young is in that, and and I'm not sure who else is in it, like other famous actors, but
yeah. Oh, John Saxon's in that.
John Saxon. No, that's who it was. John Saxon. And then there was I can't remember who else.
Marion Hill, which she
was it Mariana Hill, or like she was in The Godfather too. Remember, she played Fredo's wife.
Fredo's,
yeah, I remember her, and she was also in The Baby. Remember The Baby?
The Baby. Oh,
I almost feel like we should do like an episode on The Baby, just because it's such a crazy film.
I fully endorse that. Like
something, or like a double feature of The Baby and some other like weird man child movie or something. I don't know.
Actually, see, now that makes me want to check out The Baby again.
That's such a weird movie. And one of the weirdest things about The Baby is the director made that in Magnum Force like the same year, I think, which is such a weird about opposite ends of the spectrum. Oh my God.
That's right. Because that director actually had a pretty legitimate
career.
It
was Ted Post.
Like he did one of the Planet of the Apes sequels.
Yeah. I can't remember which was it. Conquest. I don't know which one it was, but I just find it so strange that he did that in Magnum Force the same year, like with Dirty Harry and The Baby. It's just a weird combo. Yeah. You know what I mean?
The Baby is definitely one of those movies that if you like really want to scratch that itch of like just bonkers.
Like, what the hell is this like type film?
I think that was the 70s. Let me look.
WTF, 1973, I think.
Yeah. And
so what WTF movie?
Yeah, like that's one that I think I might double dip because I know I have the Severin release, but Arrow put that out as well. So.
Oh, Arrow. Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember the cover of it.
But great
that's
stuff.
Such a crazy movie. Was there a big difference between the extras on those, or I don't know?
I'm actually looking right now. I think the Severin just had maybe like I feel like Arrow might be a little more stacked. Like I know Arrow has some brand new interviews, and maybe has a new restoration. I don't have the Severin one pulled up right now, but I feel like that maybe has some good stuff.
Extras.
Let me look, but no, I mean. All really good stuff. I'm looking up The Baby right now from so Severin, it seems like, has an audio interview with director Ted Post, which is kind of rad, and cool. It also has the star David
Manzi, something like that.
Yeah. So Severin has, I think, some stuff that Arrow doesn't have. So
it would be weird to see that guy like now, like what he thinks of it.
Right.
Maybe himself.
Yeah, but I mean,
so weird.
it really is weird, and it's so funny because it has like a character that almost feels like Sherry Moon's character, Baby.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Do you remember
which one? Which one? Which one are you talking about? Mariana Hill or something? Or
no, it was the other sister who's a blonde.
I don't know. I can't remember the other girl.
Like she's sort of the sex pot of the movie.
I don't know. I can't remember the other girl. Who the other girl was?
Yeah,
I know it's the I know Ann Jeanette Comer, and then Ruth Roman was the mother, I think, and then I can't remember the other girl though.
Let me see if I can look up what but yeah, so she's like she's a blonde, but like she kind of has that same sort of like affectation that Sherry Moon gives to her character, Baby.
I don't know. I'll have to check that out. I actually can't remember.
Yeah, so it's probably like a coincidence, but I kind of like feel like Rob Zombie is such a big like 70s and 80s horror.
He probably
fan
saw that movie and he says, "Oh yeah, I want you to act like the girl in the Baby, like act like her." Maybe that's where her name came from too.
Yeah, that's kind of like
I never thought of that. That could be.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, folks. That could be a nice, good connection right there.
No, but that would be like if I ever got to interview Rob Zombie, I would have to know that.
I know. I'm sure he would be like, "Oh yes, I've seen The Baby, and I love that one."
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Like it's certainly like, again, it's like, to bring it back to Nail Gun, it's one of these movies that like it just swings for the fences,
right?
And
yeah, he's another director. Like I'll watch like 100 different movies of like that type of like whatever genre it is, like a horror or something. But then like when I watch his movies, it's like, okay, yes, this is like, I like his style. I like the way he does. I like the characters. I don't know. It's just the way he does it. Like I just like his style. You know what I mean? When I watch like House of a Thousand Corpses or The Devil's Rejects, I just like the the tone and the humor and the characters. Everything kind of. I like the music. I just like the way he does. I like his style. Like if I was going to make a movie, that's like the way I'd want to do it. That type of stuff,
Yeah,
I just like it. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, it wouldn't surprise me if like the Baby.
Oh, I wasn't into the Halloweens though, but I like his stuff, like his original stuff. Like
and he, even the stuff that's super divisive. Is whether you like his Halloween movies or not. I will say that. He definitely does his own thing. And
he has his own like vision of like what he wants to. Style spin. He puts his own spin on it. But I was never like a huge. I mean, I like Halloween, but I was never a huge like fan of those movies so much, like the sequels very much. So it's like I just didn't really care about that character that much. I don't know. You know what I mean? That's more of what it was. But any other movies on this list you've seen? Boulevard Nights. That was a pretty good one. That was like a Mexican gang movie. That was pretty.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that one.
And The Bodyguard, Sonny Chiba. I don't know if you've seen that one or.
I have not seen that one, but I've heard of that one.
That's the one where Ezekiel 25:17, like the path of the righteous man. And that's where that came from.
Oh, okay.
From Pulp Fiction. And I've seen Soul Brothers of Kung Fu, and I haven't seen Killing Machine. That's another Sonny Chiba movie. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, Killing Machine, I think Vinegar Syndrome put out. Actually.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
it's the Sonny Chiba one. Okay. Yeah. Or is it like another one?
Yeah, let me see.
Caligula. I've seen that one. That's kind of like that was sort of a crazy controversial movie back in the day.
Yeah, like I'm. That's another one that I'm kind of hoping gets.
Is that on Blu-ray? I don't know if that's on Blu-ray now or not.
You know what? I actually think it is, but I think it's out of print. I'm looking it up.
I should look on my site. I have the site right here. I think it did come out on. Let's see. Yeah, Blu-ray. Yeah, it came out from Image Entertainment. That was a long time ago, though. I think. I don't see. 2009. I think it came out.
Yeah, it's like crazy expensive and out of print. I have like a deluxe DVD of that.
Where $121.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like one they should like re-release, like like Arrow Video or something should do it, or
it would be nice.
Or Vinegar Syndrome. I don't know, whoever like would work best for that. I don't know.
Really stacked version of that. Like I actually got to meet Malcolm McDowell, so that was pretty.
Oh, you did? Wow. Where was this, at like a film festival or?
Yeah, it was a horror convention.
Wow, cool.
A Monster Mania con. Actually, it was when Rob Zombie's Halloween first came out. It was that same summer.
Because he played the doctor, right? He played.
Yeah, and they got the cast
Dr. Loomis
too. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's another good one that I've definitely seen.
Yep. You're saying Caligula?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen it, but like years and years ago. So
yeah,
I just remember all the crazy,
it's pretty good. I mean, it's definitely stuff. If you,
it's like all the, all the crazy Greek people, or they were Greek, right? I think. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that might be it as far as the ones that you mentioned that I've definitely seen. Like some of them I've certainly heard of.
Don't Answer the Phone. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Ebony, Ivory, and Jade. I've seen that one.
Haven't seen that one.
I don't know I still don't know what Behind the Shutters is. I don't know if that's just some little horror movie or what. Probably is, but I don't know.
Sounds kind of like a porno.
Yeah, it could be. It's I don't know. It could be that, but like I was saying, a lot of those movies, on the Deuce, they'd have alternate names.
Yeah.
Like I was looking at one list and one of them was Killer Farmer. And I was like, I wonder if that's actually, I didn't know if it was The Farmer or if it was just some other movie, separate movie, but it turned out it was The Farmer.
So I looked this up and it looks like it's a Swedish film from 1984.
Behind the Shutters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's just, I don't know what genre it is or anything.
It's hard to tell from, there's not a whole lot of information. There's a little synopsis, but it's kind of hard to tell. It's listed as a drama though. So.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I don't know if we have any stuff on my site, but
yeah, and I'm not even going to begin to pronounce the actual name of it, but
Swedish movie or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and also we didn't mention. Well, I think I mentioned it on the first show, but I think Thriller, They Call Her One Eye, is coming to Blu-ray on Blu-ray too.
Yeah,
that's famous. But you know what? Are you a big fan of that one? I don't know if you.
So I've only seen that once actually, and I remember I remember liking it though for sure. So
I mean, I like it, but it's when it comes to that genre, the rape revenge stuff, I still like I Spit on Your Grave more and Miss 45 and those two more. I think Thriller is kind of weird because it's just the way the story is told. It doesn't really set up the revenge so well for me. It's just strange, the way they do it.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty infamous for the eyeball scene.
Yeah, the eyeball scene, but it's that was pretty cool, but but it's I guess they use a real corpse for it or something, a real.
I think it was a sheep's eye that they used.
Something like that. I think
I feel like they did something like that in maybe some Fulci film.
Probably. Although I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if he used real stuff or what.
Yeah,
but he always had a lot of eye gouging in his movies.
Eye trauma, yeah.
Eye trauma. Eye trauma.
So,
but so I guess that's about wraps it up for the show. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, that's.
Unless there's anything else you want to.
Just that I have a book called The Ultimate Guide to Strange Cinema, and it has a ton of movies in it that covers all genres. The one unifying thing is, of course, that's bonkers, crazy movies, and it has a lot of fun things. It has trivia. I went a step further and did some exclusive interviews.
Oh, cool.
One of the cool things was I got to interview somebody from Student Bodies, which is one of my favorite 80s.
Oh, nice. That's a slasher movie? Yeah.
It's a slasher.
Is it a comedy? Isn't it a comedy too?
Yeah, it's overwhelmingly more a comedy, and it's very much the kind of broad comedy of Airplane. Is it
it's a satire of those slasher movies?
Yeah. Think Scary Movie, but way
1980s. Yeah. Right. I totally get that. Yeah.
But the guy that plays the crazy shop teacher, I actually got I tracked him down and interviewed him, and it was
cool,
so awesome.
That's awesome.
But just to
say, check that one out too.
Yeah, so just to say that the book is more than just reviews. It has some really cool, interesting stuff like that. So yeah, right now it's on Amazon. It's really easy to find. Just type in The Ultimate Guide to Strange Cinema, and if you're on Twitter, I'm at Strange Cinema 65.
What about your YouTube?
And yeah, so I have a series on YouTube. It's a horror, but it's also just some general cinema called Return of the Living Geeks, and that's on Geek Vibes Nation. So if you just search Return of the Living Geeks, kind of like Return of the Living Dead, but with geeks in the title, and it's pretty easy to find. And yeah, I also have a home video series called The Video Attic, and
that's all Blu-ray reviews and stuff.
Yeah, Blu-ray, Ultra HD. I do some unboxing videos, like the Shaw set.
Yep.
And I also like we were talking about the folk horror set. I do an unboxing video of that, and I show you like what actually is in the set, and like how cool the packaging is and all that stuff. So yeah, so it's really cool.
Great.
Like one of the really cool things is I did a home video episode with this guy named Dennis Daniel, and he's like a bona fide legend in the horror field. Like you've seen the Night of the Living Dead remake, right, with Tom Savini?
Yep, I've seen it. Yep.
This guy is a zombie in that movie.
Oh my God. Dennis Daniel, his name is? Yeah.
And he actually like wrote for like the Deep Red Handbook, which is like one of like, it's kind of everybody's Bible, or it should be. So yeah, I mean, but it's a lot of fun because like we like talk movies, but then we talk about our favorite home video releases.
That's awesome.
So like it's like a on camera thing. So like we show off some of like our favorite releases, but like
sounds great.
Yeah, but like like throughout, like we talk about like Dennis's career, and like he talks about like this really weird encounter with Charlie Sheen.
Oh, nice. What happened with what happened with Chaz?
Well, you'll have to check it out to find out.
To watch the show.
Yeah, but that's like a nice kind of tease because it is fun. It was a really long record, so we split it up into 2 parts, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So it's certainly worth checking out. All
right, sounds great. So I guess we'll wrap up the show. It was really great talking to you, Mike. You had a lot of great, ideas and, thoughts on the movies.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was fun.
I'm a huge fan, and I appreciate being on the show.
Yeah, we really, had a great time talking. So I guess I'll be signing off. This is Pete Roberts, 42nd Street Forever podcast. We'll see you next time.